Hi, my name is Cain Pence. A couple years ago, I was living on Hennepin Avenue in my hometown of Minneapolis. I consider myself a writer. I've written all sorts of things about politics, history, sports for all sorts of newspapers and magazines. Washington Times, The Hill, the Washington Examiner, Cleveland Plain Dealer, Salt Lake Tribune. But I never made enough money to be solely a writer. So what I did was I sold books. I was a bookseller, not rich by any means. I didn't own a house. I don't have any kids. I wasn't married. I did not have a car. But don't ever feel sorry for me. I've been to all 50 states, all 435 congressional districts, the insular territories, and dozens of countries and dozens of islands. Whenever I had enough money, I would go off and wander the world, whether it was to Canada, to Iowa, to Guam, to Tel Aviv, Israel, to Spain. And I kind of was a bit of an extreme traveler where I would show up without reservations and just find a place to stay, talk to the locals. I had a very good life, which I liked, involved with my church, involved with my men's group. And my next journey, which was kind of my bucket list place, was to London. I wanted to go to London to see where the English language was from, see the home of Shakespeare, whatnot. Anyways, this was in a couple years ago, 2021, where the big thing, of course, was the pandemic, and the vaccine came out, and everyone said everyone needs to take the vaccine. I never thought twice about taking the vaccine. My father was a doctor. I didn't think it should be mandated, but I didn't think anything bad of it. I kind of drank the Kool-Aid. I believed it was fine. I believed it was healthy. I believed there wouldn't be any horrible side effects. I certainly didn't believe it would completely change my life. The day after I took the first vaccine in my left arm, things started going wrong. It started shaking convulsively. I called the number. They said, no big deal. It should go away. People have these side effects. You'll be fine. The day after that, my legs started shaking. My arm started shaking again. The Monday after that, I had some things to do. Everyone told me, don't go in, you'll be fine. The next day I went to my men's group, Catholic men's group, Holy Name Society, and my face was dragging and I couldn't really talk. Felt like a stroke. I went into Abbott Northwestern Hospital. The emergency room was completely packed with other people who were having having vaccine related issues. But because I was clearly having a stroke, they put me to the front of the line. They did the MRI and they saw the stroke. So what they said, instead of it having anything to do with the vaccine, even though literally I started having problems the next day after the vaccine, is they told me it was diabetes. I've had diabetes all my life. I've had problems with my eyes because of it, but I've never had a blood clot. I've never had a stroke. I've never had anything like that. Throughout the next month, I had to debate whether or not I should get the second shot. I wasn't reluctant to get the first shot because, like I said, I believed, do your duty, get the shot. Dr. Fauci's a great guy, all this complete propaganda. And this time, I was incredibly reluctant because of what happened to me. But in order to travel, in order to go to Europe, in order to do a number of other things, you had to have 2 shots. So I asked 7 different doctors at Abbott Northwestern here in Minneapolis, a renowned hospital, and every one of them, to a T, they just completely said, we're not saying anything bad about the vaccine. We want everyone to get vaccinated. This had nothing to do with the vaccine. I was incredibly skeptical, but you see these people in a white coat. My father was a radiation oncologist. I always had respect for his medical career. I thought the doctors were the good guys. I basically was brainwashed into thinking, okay, maybe it just was diabetes. So I took the second shot. A couple weeks after taking the second shot, similar things started to happen. My arm was shaking, my leg was shaking. I felt like crap. I called in. They said, well, you should be fine. You're probably just having a minor reaction. Don't worry about it. Within a couple more weeks, I went out to Lake Independence with a friend. I was in the lake. I got out of the lake and my entire left side stopped working. I had to drag my leg, I had to drag my arm. We went back to the emergency emergency room back to Abbott Northwestern, and they did the MRI and said you had a second stroke. And this time, unlike the first stroke, which I could easily recover from, I had to go through, almost 2 years now of crazy shit, and was told I was never going to walk again. They wanted to get me an electric wheelchair, and now I'm moving in a group home. So that's where I am. And I feel it's happened for a reason, and I have a story to tell. I have a life story that is very unique, kind of incredible in a lot of ways. Not just my life story, but when you're hit hard and you're down, can you come back and can you find meaning in your tragedy? Can you take one of the worst things that ever happened to you and make it one of the best things? So I hope you will keep watching. It's going to be interesting.